Hi everybody, welcome to our YouTube channel. Today we're going to make a bee waterer and a bee feeder and maybe even a bee house. It's very important that bees and pollinators have water. They need water just like we do, and in the summer, if it's hot and dry or hot, the bees use the water as an air conditioning to cool their hive. They bring it back to the hive or their colony, and it's used to kind of water down the honey, but also they have the water droplets in the hive, and the worker bees actually fan, and this helps cool and also add humidity to the hive. So what we're going to do today is a really simple and helpful project. They're all really easy. Most of them I would think you could do with your kids, because that will help teach them about ecology. It'll help you feel better about saving the earth as much as, you know, we can take baby steps in that direction. And I mean, I don't know what kid doesn't like playing with rocks and water. So those are good things. So to start off, we're going to have some sort of a shallow vessel. You can take any type of a vessel that you want. Lots of people use the bottom of the terracotta saucer of a terracotta pot. You can use that. I have a variety of shallow vessels that I just have on hand for this for today. It's kind of important to make sure that you consistently have water in your bee waterer, because they learn where that water is, and if they have a source, they want to be able to go back to it. They kind of have a map in their head, and so that's important. And the important thing about pollinators, they cannot land in standing water. So when you see bees in your pool or in your pet bowl or in your bird feeder, that's because they're coming to get the water, but they can't stand there. They can't swim and make in that deep of water. So we have to make a situation for them that is safe but also provides them water. And then when you get to placing your bee waterer, you want to leave it, that was my point before, you want to leave it in the same spot, because they'll return to that spot. And if you want to be strategic, you can place it away from your pet bowls, away from your pool, and they'll have a place to go and hopefully stay away from the areas where you don't want them. So we'll take our shallow vessel, any kind that you want. And I like river rocks. I like the variety of the colors. Obviously you can pick whatever suits your garden. I've seen this done with those fancy glass marbles. You can certainly do that. I like river rocks. You could also pick rocks that match your garden aesthetic a little better. So we're just going to put the small ones down first, give them a little place to land, give them a little, so that there's a little bit of depth. And then we'll give them some bigger ones so they can stand on here without falling in, and they have a place to stand. And then bees, they need water, but it's probably not the best idea for them to have tap water. We have chlorine, I don't know what all goes into cleaning our water. Bees, when they're in nature, of course, they look for dirty water, and this is dangerous because it can have pesticides and chemicals in it. But if it was naturally dirty water, it would have salts and minerals from the earth in it and from the environment, and that would be good for them. So I suggest that you use rainwater is the best. If you can't do that, distilled water. And so to help our little bees have a little bit of dirty water, I'm going to grab some compost from our composter and throw that in there. You can also use garden manure. Sounds kind of gross, but it's good for the bees. You don't need a whole lot. We'll just throw a little handful in. And a little stick is always a good thing too. If you are doing this with kids, you can put, well, with anybody, sticks or popsicle sticks, something that floats if you put that much water in there. Now we're just going to add a little bit of water to our bee waterer. And that should do it. So now if this were level, there would just be a little bit of water in it. Bees have lots of places to land where they can drink from, and a little bit of dirty water to give them some minerals, and place this in a area in your garden where you can keep it consistent and keep it filled. Okay everybody, and now we'll make our bee feeder. This is very easy. All you're going to need is a jar, recyclable type jar, and screw lid is best. And so what you're going to do first is poke some holes in it. You want very small holes. You don't want it escaping too much too fast. So we're going to put some holes in it.
No.
Okay, now that we have our holes drilled, on to the next part. So in the summertime, you can do, I won't do all of this, but you do 1 part sugar, plain old white sugar, to 1 part water. And that's the ratio for the summer. When it gets to be fall, or if you have bees in the winter, you can do a 2 part sugar to 1 part water. So I'm just going to eyeball this for the purposes of getting it done. So let's say that's a 1-to-1 ratio. Screw our lid back on. I would shake it up until it dissolved. Probably a little longer than I would do on this video. And then we have another shallow vessel. This was from earlier. I would probably pick something much smaller. And so you can either have some sort of sticks to prop the lid up, or again, I like these small river rocks, because you want this to be lifted up a little bit for the bee food, the sugar water, to come out. So let's see how this goes. You turn that over. And there will be your bee feeder. The bees will be able to smell this. I don't know if they smell it, if they get attracted to it, and they'll come. And we don't have a lot of drips. You don't want it pouring out. But you see that there are some drips. You don't want it leaking out all over. So we'll put it down like that, and the bees will find it. And that's about all there is to it.
All right. And so our final project today, we're going to build a bee house. There's many schools of thought on how to do this. The one I'm going to show you today is very quick, very simple. It will need a little bit of maintenance as the years go on, but that's for a later time. We just have a simple block of wood that came off a tree in our yard a couple years ago. It's been sitting here. We had nothing to do with it, and we've got a little electric chainsaw here. We're going to cut out a little bit of the face, make a little roof for them. They don't like to have water in their nests or in their homes, so we'll get started with that. Yeah. All right, and so now we've got our piece cut. We've got a little roof for our friendly bees, and it's not the prettiest cut around. It was an electric chainsaw. It's very dull. I recommend using a sharp saw. So we've got the in the bee house. We're in Minnesota, and we have 400 different kinds of species of bees that will make a home in this log here. So the trick is to make several different size holes then you'll attract different species of bees. They will nest together. They don't have any problem with that. It's a mixed community. So we'll just drill several holes in kind of a random pattern here. I'll start with a 1/4 inch bit and work my way all the way up to about a 7/16 inch bit. We're going to want to go almost as deep as the logs, so we're going to go down about 3 inches or so, give or take. So we will go ahead and get started with that. And I'm going to do about a 6 of each size hole. And we'll move up to a 5/16. And we'll move up to a 3/8 and then a 7/16. And just for good measure, in case some of our friends get a little too into our sugar water from earlier in the video, we'll give them some 1/2 inch holes as well in case they put on a few grams. All right, and there we have it. We'll take a moment to clean out some of the smaller holes that filled with dust, and we'll get this hung up in just a moment. All right, and so here we have our bee house with all our holes drilled. We're gonna put a little, I've got a shepherd's hook around the corner where I want to hang it. We need to make something of a hanger, so I have got an old ratty hose that I essentially threw away, but haven't tossed it in the garbage yet. So I'm just going to clip a piece off of that. Happen to have some garden shears laying around. These work quite well. Just a quick clip. And I'm going to take this down to the cement. Probably not a good idea to pound nails on a glass top table. Probably wasn't a good idea to drill on a glass top table, but we learn as we go, right? So we'll just take one end of this. I've got a couple of roofing nails. And we'll get one nail on this side. Spin it around to the other side. And make sure they're somewhat level. And we'll get a nail on that side as well. All right, follow me and we will go hang up our bee house. There we go. We'll put it on the south side of the house where it's nice and warm for them. Thank you for joining us today, and good luck in your backyard projects.